violations of the assumption of both normality and homogeneity of variance. Now next is a table on a fresh page, and all this information is actually found in the narrative of the results, except for the skew and kurtosis. So I made reference to table 1 in the narrative, and now I've actually got to produce it. And this is what a table would look like that's consistent with APA format. Table 1 on one line, and then descriptive statistics associated with frontal brain volume. That's one way you could write it. You could write this line in several different ways that would be acceptable. And I've got my non-smoker group on one row and smokers on the other. And I got mean, standard deviation, skew, and kurtosis. And keeping down, the last section is a figure. So this is a bar graph of the means for frontal brain volume on the y-axis, non-smokers and smokers. We can see that non-smokers have larger brain volumes than smokers. And this is actually based on a real study conducted by, I think, Gray et al. I simulated the data to be consistent with the results that they obtained. And we can see that figure has its caption at the bottom instead of the top. In the table, the caption is actually on the top of the table. And then in figure, the caption's at the bottom. And frontal brain volume bar graph with 95% confidence intervals. And this is not italicized. It's the opposite of the table. The table 1 is italicized, but is not italicized. But when a figure, you actually italicize the figure 1 statement and not the bottom section. But again, this results section, which is consistent with APA format, things will change based on the format that you're using. But I think the structure of this, presenting the descriptive statistics first, just a couple of statements about the descriptive statistics for the two groups, means and standard deviations, and add that keyword numerically, smaller, kind of hinting at what you're going to test, and then tell me what you're going to test, what the hypothesis is, and what the statistic is, and then you test your assumptions, normality, and Levene's, then get into the actual t-test, then a little statement interpreting what happened. This is very useful in my opinion. When you get to more complicated statistics, this statement after the analysis becomes more and more important. And then Cohen's d with an interpretation of whether it's small, medium, or large. And then if you add a graph, mention it at the bottom. So this is one way to write the results associated with an independent sample t-test. It's very detailed. Like I said, if somebody presented this to me either as a teacher or as a reviewer, I'd be very impressed. Obviously I'm biased because this is doing it the way I personally prefer to see it. I'm happy for people to make comments about how they think it could be improved or other result sections that they've been really impressed by. I'm happy to check that out. But overall, I think as a general way to write results, this will probably get you across the line every time. I hope you found this video useful.